Welcome to the High Fae Housewives podcast. I'm Blakely.
And I'm Kylie.
We're currently working towards our Maasters in the Maasverse. Our current course is focused on A Court of Wings and Ruin. We're covering part 2 of our 3-part coverage. And today we are discussing chapters 28 through 54. You can expect a spoiler-free summary at the top of the episode, and then we break it all down with our theories and connect it to the rest of the Maasverse.
We will have spoilers for Throne of Glass and Crescent City, all of them, as we tie things in. And warning, while we may be your silly gal pals, we don't recommend listening to this podcast around little ears or ears that may be offended because we say bad words and shitty things. Now relax those shoulders, unclench those jaws, clench that clam, and let's get into it. Chapters 28 through 54. Feyra's working hard on her flying ability, but she's not exactly graduating Illyrian flight school anytime soon. So Azriel was feeling chatty one day and told her of a gal named Nefel, who draws some striking similarities to Finding Nemo, but I digress. So Feyra draws some inspiration and holds that in her back pocket for later when flying. The less weird Archeron sisters were doing wall repair research in the library when Elaine finally seemed not so crazy because twin ravens appeared, just like she said were coming. That's what she said. They disguised themselves as scholars to get access to the library from Hybern and used some Faebane to try and snag Nesta and get back what she stole from the cauldron. But Feyra is quick like a cat and leads them down to where we meet our gal Bryaxis. Faebane makes a bargain to send some company to her in exchange for help from the Hybern hillbillies. Everyone thought Elaine is insane, but nope, she's just a seer. When testing out what could go wrong with her, Lucien yanked on their bond, made shit weird, and decided it was best if he took his leave to search for the missing human queen. After Lucien pieces out, Rhys returns to find out Hybern has attacked Adriata. The Night Court, being the community helpers that they are, went and had Summer Courts back. The king, aka Mr. Hybern, was there, but more of an illusion because he likes playing games. Tarquin isn't exactly thrilled to see the Night Court, but he won't forget this. It was time to call an all-court meeting after the attack on Adriata. There was lots of drama between the courts of where to have it and who would actually attend. It ended up being at the Dawn Court with all courts attending. Even Nesta was doing her part by showing up. We learned Day Court is a homie behind closed doors, but also puts up a front. Baron is a prick and doesn't commit to helping and leaves when Azriel beats the shit out of Eris. Tamlin says he's playing spy, but at this point, no one is sold on his solidarity. During the meeting, Mr. Hybern used the cauldron to bring down the wall. Shit was getting even more real. Pretty sure I say that every time. It was time to rally the troops. Feyra takes that as her sign to make a bargain with Bryaxis, a window and continued shelter in exchange for help in the war. Queen of bargains, because we had a deal. They head up to the Illyrian camps to get word out that it's time for them to move. Then it's off to Elaine's ex, who she is not over, to help with the humans. Grayson and his dad are absolute pricks. We then find out that Jurian got there first. Plot twist though, Jurian is a homie. He shared that TME ran right back to Hybern, so that double agent is playing double agent. Jurian also tells them what's the haps with the Firebird and the 6th Queen Vassa, who's cursed. Jurian is like TTYL besties, and he lets them know where to position their armies, and thanks Feyra for killing the Creep Twins in the Spring Court. Really just leaving them wondering what the fuck happened. And I want to dive right in immediately to my favorite topics, seers and witches in the Maasverse. Elaine's a fucking seer, which means Elaine is a witch. In chapter 72 of Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath, I talked about how Crescent City tells you about the different kinds of witches and how their power was inherited from some ancient source that the 3 witches claimed was a 3-faced goddess. Their gifts were varied from seers to warriors to potion makers, but healers were the most visible in Crescent City. Elaine is the seer portion, and Nesta can be considered a warrior. I think that this is important to point out again because while we haven't officially met any witches in ACOTAR, they are mentioned by the Illyrians, and that's how we all know.
I do feel like Jerry Maguire with show me the money, but show me the witches. I really feel that. And you just bringing up Elaine being a witch and she's a seer. We have to think about how. Because if she's in the cauldron, we know that Nesta stole things from the cauldron. I don't think she stole witch abilities in the cauldron. I think that was already in her and it just was amplified.
I mean, the cauldron's a giver for Elaine and saw that dog in her and was like, here you go.
And the cauldron probably knew, even though it has been defiled by the Vaglisteri, that they need a seer on their side.
The Vaglisteri just sounds like they're Vaglisteri.
Well, if the shoe fits.
They are an STD on the worlds.
Truly. I mean,
No, that's not wrong at all because they are fucking parasites. Oh my gosh. Asteri are STDs
100%.
of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Case closed.
That's it. I don't know if you can get an antibiotic for these things, but we should look into it.
Yeah, I don't think that they can. They can only suppress it because they seem to not kill them or they banish them to nowhere, block them in space. We don't know
Allegedly.
what happens to them after there.
Allegedly. I don't trust anything about those Asteri. Them. Those STD Asteries, I don't trust them.
I wouldn't either.
No.
Other witchy beings, I want to talk about big weaves.
Okay.
She loved the Ouroboros and used it to admire herself at night in those mirrors gloating over her youth and beauty. It was old even when we were young, a window to the world. All could be seen, all could be told through its dark surface, and Kier possesses it, an heirloom of his household. Okay, it's an heirloom in Kier's household, but how did the Weaver have it? And then how was it given to Moore's family? Is there relation there in some witchy ways? I think so, and you think so. But how did this mirror change hands between Moore's family and Big Weaves? So then there's this comment about the Ouroboros. I could not find an account of anyone who had mastered it, faced what lurked within, and walked away with the mirror in their possession, save for the Weaver in the wood, who certainly seemed insane enough, perhaps thanks to the mirror she loved so dearly, or perhaps whatever evil lurked in her had tainted the mirror too. Some of the philosophers had suggested as much, though they hadn't known her name, only that a Dark Queen had once possessed it, cherished it. It said Dark Queen had once possessed it, and I want to know if that's supposed to be the Weaver or she possessed it after the Dark Queen. If those are two separate people, we know Moore's family used to have full run of the Night Court. Who in Moore's family is this Dark Queen? Once again, the Dark Queen in Moore's family is in Moore's family because Ouroboros is an heirloom of Kier and Moore's household. And I know the carver said Nesta is a queen. My sister once was, terrible and proud, beautiful as a winter sunrise. But I don't think Big Weaves is the queen that was referenced above because the carver just said queen. The philosopher said a dark queen had once possessed it and didn't know her name. And if Striga, aka the Weaver, wouldn't they just say that since everyone knows about the lawless middle and leaves are untouched? It literally says Weaver in the woods and mentions Dark Queen in the same paragraph, but doesn't necessarily imply that they are the same person. I don't doubt that Striga's a queen. They literally fucking told us that. But we do know someone who was referred to as a Dark Queen, though, Maeve. And I think it's more of a reference to her somehow than Striga being the Dark Queen.
So we had said in the last episode that you and I were going to fight about this. And I'm not actually fighting with you. I was researching and I was kind of creating sides from what you've already, your theory on it, and both sides. And I'm unclear. I just cannot make up my mind because it could go either way. Both make sense because the carver might not refer to his own sister as the Dark Queen because that's his sister. You know what I mean? It's a familiarity situation. But I was reading so much about Maeve in mythology and in just Kindle searching over and over again that I feel a little muddled right now. So we're not arguing yet. This is Kylie's theory. I'm on board with everything that you're saying with it, to be honest. I'm just going to be a devil's advocate next episode.
That's fair. It just because it can go either way.
Yeah.
But why say the Weaver and a Dark Queen in the same sentence?
Right. No, it's
just
weird.
Referencing her because it could imply that it was, but it could not.
It's because it could be just a trick that Sarah's doing, so we think it's different, or it could be so it could really go either way. And I don't have a firm, I'm fine with everything you said. I don't think it's wrong, but I just also don't know, you can make a case for the other side too.
Yeah. Cause if the fact that only one Dark Queen was mentioned and that's Maeve, there's no other Dark Queens here.
Right.
Not one other person reference Big Weave as a dark queen at all. And people know her history because she lives in the middle and they're scared of her. It's the lawless land that she essentially kind of rules over. Maybe that's why she's a dark queen.
Yeah, and like I think I was rereading like Vesperus chapters in House of Flame and Shadow, and she asked to go to the middle because that's where people like her are. So then it really makes you question, like, we know that Striga means witch, and then she was apparently a queen according to the Carver, but it's like, are they more similar than not?
But
Like,
she's also a death god. Don't forget that.
Yeah, no, yeah, and she's a death god, so there's like a lot of questions, like, because these bitches rebrand everything all the time. So it's like, I know that the Steri Daglin are different than death gods, but like, did they all live on the same planet? Is what I think happened, and they were fighting.
Or did they get banished there, the death gods?
Mm-hmm. Or all of the, yeah. There's a lot that you could look at here, but it's interesting. And this story with the Striga, and I know that she's R.I.P. I think it's coming back in future books.
We'll come
the
back.
Lore.
Back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I said a whole lot of nothing other than like agree with you and also maybe disagree. Only because I'm trying to play devil's advocate, witch's advocate, if you will. Dark Queen advocate.
As we should. As somebody who doesn't stand Tamlin, I'm still like, I give him credit. This is me playing devil's advocate for him because I should.
We give him flowers when he deserves it. He just doesn't deserve it very often.
No. I want to talk about more winged things. We've learned about the seraphim in this book, but I once again would like to get biblical before we get bookish.
As we should.
Breaking down the term seraphim, like what is that? The term seraphim, is it seraphim or seraphim?
I thought it was seraphim, but I don't know.
Okay, the term seraphim or seraphim, I don't know, I say shit wrong all the time, is the plural form of the Hebrew root seraph, which means to burn. In the simplest sense, a seraph is a burning one. Seraphim or seraphim, whatever, are angels. Goddamn, this is sounding familiar. Dracon's people, the seraphim are winged like us, but their wings are feathered. And unlike us, their army and society allow women to lead, to fight, to rule. All of them are gifted with mighty magic of wind and air. And it sounds like the Malachim, aka the angels from Crescent City. The Asteri Daglins first go with winged beings as pets that didn't work out with the seraphim. Same story, different font. I just wonder if the other worldly beings that keep making winged things are ever going to learn their fucking lesson, because they always turn against them.
Are you thinking that the Steri created that?
Yeah, I feel like they did create all the winged beings, and like they just, different Asteri, different, like they're all testing shit out. Like, what can we make with these beings? Because I feel like a ton of they make a lot of things. They play God.
They definitely could have made these, and we know that they pretty much did create the Illyrians. So I think when Rydulus is referring to the one, I think they are talking about Illyrians just because of the Annalius connection. But yeah, who's to say that they didn't create all these winged beings? It's very possible.
Because they have women leading. It sounds so much like the 33rd. It sounds like their army, like they tried it out, they rebelled, and then they were like, okay, this is what we've learned, like let's do it better on Midgard.
And just with the Hebrew meanings and everything, it definitely, with the angels, it sounds plausible that they could have.
Well, and then everything we know initially about Amren and her initial being of a biblical angel, and like allegedly sometimes those burn depending on your depiction that you see. But Amren burns too.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a pet. So just that background meaning, that's why I think it was.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Since I just brought up Annalius, I think we should chat about it. So I brought this up in our Crescent City coverage, but I think that Cassian may be reincarnated Annalius. First, let's talk about reincarnation in the Maasverse, as explains it to us in House of Flame and Shadow. First, we'll start who was Annalius? The carvings show the cauldron perched atop what seems to be a barren mountain with 3 stars above it, as says that Ramiel, a mountain sacred to the Illyrians, says that that's Ramiel, a mountain sacred to the Illyrians. Now, a little refresher is the warrior god Analius, who was the first Illyrian, fought against the Daglin on Ramiel. He ended up dying there. Cassian is often said to fight like him. Now, Analius was most likely inspired by the Greek war deity. Deity? Is that right?
Deity.
Yeah, okay, I said it right. I wanted to say deity, and like, that's not it.
That's how I read it, even though I know it is deity.
Yeah, Greek war deity Analius, who was potentially Eris, one of the 12 Olympians. It's one of those in different mythologies, it's different. Now back to Ramiel, that's where the blood rite takes place in honor of Analius. And just want to remind you, all there on the top there is an onyx monolith at the top, which is not suspicious at fucking all. Also, I want to go back to people saying that Cassian fights like Analius. What if Cass is him reincarnated? The mother found use for him and sent him back to try and defeat the enemy once again. Analius died at the top of Ramiel, defending it with his guts hanging out. Now, I just want to remind you, this scene in Act that had everyone freaking out. It'll take more than that to kill me, Cassian said with a smirk that it didn't mean his eyes. Elaine says only to Cassian, no, it will not. So maybe it wasn't necessarily a vision for Cassian, but Elaine could see what had already happened with Analius. And I get that she's a seer, but like she might be picking up on different energies of it for the reincarnation. We know very little about Elaine's powers and what she's capable of seeing. Who's to say that maybe she can't see the past? We don't know. Or just, seeing somebody's soul and what the trajectory is. Now, Cass's Illyrian siphons are red. And if we're going with him being Analius, which, like I said, could be the same as Eris, depending on the mythology you're reading, Eris's Roman counterpart is Mars, which comes from the planet, the red planet, to be exact. So just with him having red siphons compared to what we think of as with his, I think it all makes sense. And I was thinking about this morning. I didn't write it in here, but like, remember when they were complaining about Cass and Nesta defended him and said like, well, that bastard born might be the only thing that will be stopping like the king of Hybern. Well, Analius was the only thing stopping the Asteri. He was that last thing. So I just feel like it's a history repeating himself. And the reincarnation, we haven't seen it yet. And there's definitely someone here that's been reincarnated. So this is my theory.
We will get more into this, even in Frost and Starlight, because there is some more context for some of this, and then really dive into this in Silver Flame, because I have a lot to say, but it's fucking full spoiler.
Yeah, there's, we start researching things and it's just like, oh, you don't know if it's like my brain is like confirmation bias or not, but like, no, there's a shit ton of proof that this is actually true. So we'll see.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to talk about Feyra and Nesta just a little bit. So Feyra and Nesta kind of have a somewhat relatable relationship. It says, I don't push. Even as I stared at her for a long moment, I don't know how to broach the subject, how to ask if she was all right, if I could help her. I have never been affectionate with her. I've never held her, kissed her cheek. I don't know where to begin. And affection is something that I am not great with anyone except for my child. So this is super relatable to me, especially when you grow up in a not affectionate family, like, which also plays into Nesta being a bitch. She was raised by her bitch mom to be a bitch human, and Nesta literally has to learn to be nice. And I want to maybe defend Nesta a little bit, because like, she is a heinous bitch and she gets worse. And it was a learned thing. Like, her mom was not a nice gal. They didn't have a great relationship, but Feyra, like, not hugging her, I get it. I just want to say I relate.
I mean, I'm not a hugger. So you and I are similar in the way that, like, our kids get a lot of affection. Because
everything I never got, absolutely.
Yeah, because we didn't get it. We give it to our kids. But, like, please don't hug me.
No, it's really funny every time I do it to you.
I'm so awkward. You can at least hug and you don't seem like an idiot. I seem like an idiot.
Yeah, I guess you get a little rigid. Well, because you're like, oh my God, don't touch me.
Well, it's kind of a bit now. So what am I supposed to do?
I also want to point out that right before Hybern attacked the library, Nesta is like, Nesta shut her eyes for a moment, breathing in sharply because ... And we were so close to knowing why she is so protective over Elaine. And then fucking Hybern had to show up.
I know.
God, people get cut off so often in this book, and it drives me nuts because we're always so close to a nugget. And then Sarah Janet's like, nah.
Nah. JK.
So then, well, obviously Hybern shows up, and it says the ripple and tremor, like some piece of the world shifted, like some off-kilter chord had been plucked. And this little bitch of foreshadowing to instrument we meet in this book.
Mm-hmm.
The nuggets are crazy.
She does a really great job. So easy to miss them, but they're there.
Once you're looking, they're everywhere.
Which is why we over the top look at everything, because she does this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just something so small.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know why Mr. Hybern employs so many Demodis. Like, the twin ravens, they said it was so easy to get into their minds once our master led us through the wards. Said one of them, the dark-haired female or male. How does he like get dibs on all this on these Demodis?
I don't know. It makes me wonder, just because like a Hybern doesn't seem of this world to me. Like, also people like, obviously the incest twins, they got that Valg in them or something because they're weird as hell.
Yes.
But is it breeding? Like, is it just like they have Valg over there and that's usually, and so it's just a thing? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they have Demodi twins. Like, why do you have so
Yeah.
many?
Why is there so many twins in the Maasters?
When when getting pregnant as a Fae is so hard, there's just so many fucking twins.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is.
In the last episode, I talked about darkness with a capital D. And we didn't meet Bryaxis yet, but we do here. And it says the dark is very dark. It's described as inky gloom, eternal blackness of the pit at the heart of the library. It's musty and damp, the air thickening, the darkness like dew on their skin. But here we hear the voice was both young and old, hideous and beautiful. Again, this is like when Moore used the Morgan voice, and when Mala spoke through Aelin and had a voice that was deep and hollow, young and old. Like I said, Annette spoke to Elide or Elide, depending on who you are, a voice young and old, wise and sweet, whispered to her. And when Aelin was captured by Maeve, a female voice that was both young and old, amused and soulless, purred. And of course, that was Maeve. Like, who is Bryaxis to have an ancient, godlike voice?
I have a thought, but yeah.
I mean, she knows the bone carver. I knew him once long ago before so many things crawled the earth. Bryaxis.
Bryaxis.
Bryaxis saying crawled the earth just makes me feel like there's demons everywhere.
I agree. So I think that Bryaxis is a protector of the gates of hell. And later in the book, we find out that she isn't from this world, right? And she can't be seen. We'll discuss that more in the next episode. But we know the Night Court is a thin place. And so it could be its gateway into hell, with the House of Wind being sentient and weird, the library and its levels and the descriptors of it being a pit, like you had just said. And in Norse mythology, there are guardians of hell who make sure the dead do not come out and the living do not go in. So one might wonder what would happen or who could come in if a particular gate is left unattended in the future.
Yeah, great call out, just because, and I'll bring this up again, there's multiple scaled beasts on the pillars, on the gates of everything of the Hewn City. Like, what are all these fucking beasts? Like, how do they have so many?
And we're really going to talk about the library and Silver Flame more so because there's just so much, but it's got hell vibes. There's just, I think it is one of the gates to hell, because there's multiple usually in Norse mythology. So one might think one's in the Hewn City. One could potentially be there. Like, I just think that it's one of the gates.
And maybe they open to different levels of hell. Maybe they both open to hell, but different levels. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who's
yeah. Yeah, because in Norse mythology, there are 9 realms of hell normally. So, but we know that with the different levels with the princes, there's 7. But is there more? We don't know.
Or do some of them have a whole ass planet? Like Hellas, do you have
Mm-hmm.
a planet? Are those your babies?
Is Hellas the prince of the fucking abyss? I don't know. We have questions.
I do want to point that Bryaxis purrs like she purrs like Reese. Like, could they be cut from the same cloth in a way? Like a
A
little
hell
nugget of
cloth?
each other?
Well, hell cloth?
Yeah. After the whole ordeal, Reese is very pissed off. It says his eyes glowed like lightning had struck an ocean. Are we getting a little glimpse of Apollyon in him?
I just truly believe that him and his family are descendants from hell. What makes him so damn special is, though, that he has the Steri in him too, because as you know, that's where I believe Starborn comes from. So I just think that there's just no way. Like, he has to be a descendant of hell. There's too many nuggets.
What
Like,
if,
lightning is specific.
yeah, the way, because lightning is only referred to with like Hunt and Astrid, not Astrid. Whoa, Amryn.
Fucking Astrid. She's
You
always out here
know, I mean, she does have relevance, I guess, in a way with this story, but not. But
right now.
yeah, lightning with Amryn and Reese.
Mhm.
So they're at one point they're talking about the sorcerer lord that owns Vasa, and there is an onyx box that he possesses, more vital than anything, save for them. What is more important than the girls he possesses? What could be in this black box? Like, Cochet's a fucking weirdo too. He keeps other girls. Yes and no, their feathers are white as snow. They glide across the water while she rages through the skies above. And we don't get much more on this. And I hope we get to go to the continent in the next book and more about these horse people of is it Scythia?
Me?
Scythia?
Well, maybe.
Scythia. Horse people of Scythia.
I think Sarah's taking a lot of inspo from different stories. Like, I think right now she's taking the inspo from the ballet Swan Lake, which is another good versus evil story. In this, an evil sorcerer steals girls and turns them into swans. Now, we know Vasa is a firebird, but Elaine says that other girls have white coats. It's giving swan. In Swan Lake, the only way the spell can be broken is if a man pure of heart pledges his love to her. Now, Cochet is a sorcerer, and like I mentioned in our Crescent City coverage, we know another sorcerer, the astronomer. The Underking says he knows him by a different name. And the astronomer has what? A black box that Ethan took. What if Elaine's line saying is about what's happening in Crescent City? Now, remember, we learned that Cochet is a death god. And like we have mentioned a lot in Maasverse coverage, that we learn in Throne of Glass that gods can live in multiple places at once. Time is fluid for them, it's not the same. The question I have is what is significant about the black box? It being made of black stone makes one believe it could be wordstone. But let's talk about Cochet in mythology. In Slavic mythology, Cochet is an immortal sorcerer. He hides his death in magical objects, and it makes him invincible until his hidden death is found and destroyed. He's described as a skeletal, bony man. He abducts women and locks them in a fortress. So is the little black box something that's hiding his death in? And if they are in fact the same, Cochet and the astronomer wanted Ari the dragon because dragons can kill the princes of hell. So it makes you wonder why Cochet's doing this or the astronomer's doing this, like what side he is on this immortal war.
That we assume is going on.
Yeah, I'm convinced that's canon to me.
We've talked about it so long that I forget that it's not officially confirmed.
Ragnarok, Twilight of Gods, it's happening, people.
I agree.
But yeah, I thought the mythology of both of those things, Swan Lake and that, like it all feels like it's fitting.
You bringing up Swan Lake is crazy because I was working on Frost and Starlight and I also bring this up.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
So we will revisit this story in 2 episodes.
Love that.
Let's open our inner eye to Lucien. Just one.
Just one eye.
He shares about what his eye do, though, in these chaps. What did I write?
What did I do, though?
But there was hints in the first part of the book. Lucien only nodded, but I felt his gaze on my back, fixed right on my spine. And, he for sure saw her tattoo in chapter 1. And there's a moment where it says, Lucien finally looked at me, the intricate pieces of the carvings on the metal eye, much more dazzling up close. Do we think that there are word marks on that bad boy?
I think it's very possible.
Because there's so much attention to this singular eye. Like, Lucien ran his one eye over me. I'm really trying to take it serious. But in chapter 17, that gold eye clicked and narrowed, then returned to the city ahead. And, Lucien invented screenshots.
Yep.
And his focus shifted behind me before he replied, and Lucien shut his mouth. His metal eye whirled softly. I followed his glance and tried not to tense. Is it sentient, though? Is it Mort? Reimagined.
Finally. Mort was reincarnated. So that's actually what Az was talking about. It all makes sense.
All of our reincarnation talk has led to this moment where Mort was refashioned into Lucien's eye.
And it always kills me that Elizabeth Evans gives Mort this Brooklyn fucking accent. So now I'm picturing Lulu having a Brooklyn accent eye.
That's the conversation that he's having in his head. Take that screenshot. I want to remember that one.
Well, and then you just bringing this up, we know that Lucien said, no, I would be a great person to go over the continent because this eye lets me see through spells and things like that. We know the spell cleaver is his daddy. So it's just, I wonder with the High Lord power, because he is going to be the heir, most likely, he's got more magic in him. So I wonder if that eye does even more because of that.
What if that eye let him in to who his dad is? Okay, there is no way that fucking eye has not seen his dad and was like, oh, who are you? You line up with my DNA.
Especially because, yes.
There's no way that eye didn't fucking identify Baron as not his daddy. Because, if it can see all this shit, there's no way that Lucien doesn't know.
Yeah, his eyes like Maury, you're not the father. He is able to tell for sure.
Paternity test, that is Lucien's side job. Who's the father? He goes and
just his eye going mad eye moody in front of everyone, not the father.
Whizzing and clicking. Yep, dad.
Yep. Well, I agree because we know that he obviously got that eye fashion from the day court. He has connections there anyways. You're gonna say that he wasn't around Helion ever?
Not once.
Yeah.
And maybe he does know through that eye and just knows that he's got to stay safe, got to protect himself. So he's just got to play the card as the shitty seventh brother of the Autumn Court, beloved by his mother.
His mother really does love him.
That's why she helps Feyre out.
She sure does.
No, I just can't stop thinking, what does that eye do, though?
Mike Wazowski.
Imagine if his eye is a magical eye, and that's why it's so big. It's full of secrets.
Are you picturing his eye to be bigger than the other? It's
no,
large?
No. I was thinking Mike Wazowski.
Oh. I'm are you picturing one fucking
oh
huge
my
eye?
God, what if it is? Solution's a
his...
hottie. There's no way. Well, it's got to fit in that eye socket, so there's no way.
Oh God, stop talking about eyes. I hate this.
Okay, so we'll just switch it up to I want to talk about, just briefly, shout out to Varian, because he warned Amren, and I fucking love their love story. It's very much in the background. I don't want more. I don't want less. It is Goldilocks. It's perfect as it is. I love it.
It's just a cute little anecdote along the way. I'm oh, how cute. Amren's finding love.
And it's perfect. They act like they don't like each other, but they're fucking bunnies behind closed doors. We know later on that, Amren's room smells.
Thanks for that. Thanks for the reminder.
Not to be a big spoiler of the next book, but yeah, Amren has a smelly sex room.
Hey guys, please don't unsubscribe from us. Stay. Stay.
Sarah wrote it.
It's not our fault.
Like, it's not. She loves talking about sense. Speaking of sense, let's talk about Feyre and more.
Okay, let's do it.
They're going, it's the Battle of Adriata. People are dying. They do talk about it, doesn't smell great.
It doesn't smell good.
So it says
Feyre.
So Feyre and Mor are going through the palace, and Feyre thinks Mor, I think, was born able to see in the darkness. We winnowed through the ebony veiled corridor in short bursts. Like, what is Mor's power? We haven't learned enough about it, and we don't. But like, how does she have night vision like that? Mor is kind of terrifying, if you think about it.
She's definitely terrifying, and I don't have an answer. For like night vision goggles on her own little eyes, it's pretty impressive.
Like, we once again know that she hails from the night court, and like, but she was a bright light for Rhys. Like, how does she have like this darkness power or the ability to see through it? Maybe that's how she saw Rhys. Like, she saw the light inside of him through his darkness, and then that's why she was a bright light for him. And then Mor's actually good.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll argue about more in the next book, but I don't think she's bad. I don't know. Unless she's reincarnated and she's not actually her, and she is that wild theory that like she's being puppeted by Rhys. Or she's actually Tamlin. Tamlin has shapeshifted to Mor so long ago.
We should have known this with the blondes.
Yes, Tamlin is Mor. Not Lucien, Tamlin is Mor. So Tamlin slept with Cassian.
Tracks.
So back to the battle. Feyre at one point checks on her bond with Rhys, and she says, I speared myself along it, stumbling blindly through the raging tempest of night and shadow. If the bond sometimes felt like a living band of light, it now had turned into a bridge of ice-kissed obsidian. It's like when Rhys has control, it's starlight. But when he loses control or focus, that ice creeps in. And we know the king had that oily damper on his power, so that likely caused it. But damn, Rhys does have to have like a lot of control all the time. And again, oily is a Valg association.
There's no way this motherfucker isn't a hell baby. Like, there is no fucking way. I'm going towards being a Prince of the Abyss just because we know so little, and the Prince of the Pit crossbreed, just with the Napoleon and the lightning. It's what I'm going with. But then you add some Asteri light in there, he's unstoppable. I also feel like Rhys's powers are going to continue to grow, and so are Feyre's. I believe that Rhys is a conduit to Feyre. Like, these two together.
Because their bond is crazy strong. It's like they're not just carrying on, they are like, they're it. They are goals.
They're the it couple.
They're what everyone wants to, because, well, Rhys is the most powerful High Lord in history. Which again begs the question why.
And Sarah says he's one of one. Nobody's like
him. Maybe it's just a seed from every Prince of Hell.
Maybe.
Because I'm not on board with that one, but you know, why not?
I just have so many fucking questions about his mother, but
So the king, while he's, projected there, mentions Amarantha. He wanted to wipe that name from living memory. Perhaps one day he would. One day he'd erase it from every mind in this world, one by one, until she was no one and nothing. And I just want to know if Rhys can perform the nameless is my price situation for her. Does he have that kind of power, as in like a god power, to do that?
I actually think he can. And he does have a lot of maybe powers. A lot of maybe powers with those violet eyes. But I keep on thinking about when he said that, like, he doesn't mind, like, the controlling situation because it lets off so much. He needs to burn that magic. And I wonder how much he's doing behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Yeah. I think who does he, like, because he's always dampering his fucking power and then doing shit like that. Like, and then he was protecting Valaris so long, but now he's not necessarily having to protect Valaris. So what is he going to do with all that, like, excess power? He should, create a solar grid and create power.
Yeah.
bring them into modern Crescent City times with all that excess power and make it free for everyone.
Man of the people.
He is. I mean, he helped out Adriata. Like, they are the people's people. They're the people's court.
The people's people. People's prince. People's prince of darkness.
He really is.
Yeah, like it's people's prince. Now I'm just picturing Reese with like a crew neck and biker shorts. He's just Princess Diana around Valaris.
Just doing the princess wave. Kissing babies on the cheek.
Mm-hmm.
In tennis shoes.
Yeah, white ones.
Of course, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say. So the king also mentions that the Ador as his pet. And the Princess of Hell also had pets. Adis mentioned that he has pets that like to rip out feathers to Bryce. And Thanatos also had pets. All these Valgy beings and they're fucking pets. Weird.
Amryn also calls Lulu a pet, which isn't helping her dag Valg Listeri ties.
Well, yeah, and she said that she was once a pet.
Mm-hmm.
So just the association, the word association is there.
Mm-hmm. The pet, and like Amarantha used the word pet. It's just.
We are back from the Battle of Adriata, and then we're going to head to the Hewn City. So when they get back, though, Nesta asks about Cassian, and Moore says he's busy, and Feyre never heard her voice so sharp. Icy. And do you think Nesta is an Iron Teeth and then Moore is Kraken, and so that's why they like butt heads?
I think that could be a part of it. Like, I know that that's like the main thing that people say. She pays so much close attention to Nesta and Cassian, like is always watching them. And I do think it's part that she's annoyed that Nesta's blowing her cover that she's had for 500 years and that buffer with Az. I think that could be part of it. I also wonder, is she scared of Nesta in her own way? She's scared because she senses what she actually is. And maybe Mora has a bunch of glamours going on and she knows that they don't work on Nesta.
If Moore has glamours going on, does Lucien see that? Because Lucien can see through through glamours. And it just also makes you wonder, kind of gives Lucien more of like his fox name. Like if he knows all these secrets and isn't sharing them, he's a sneaky little thing. He's a gatekeeper. He is the bone collector. Lucien is the bone collector.
Yeah, he loves it.
He is Sheree Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta. He's the bone collector.
Not to be confused with the bone carver, but yes.
Who also collects bones, but he carves them.
Yes.
And not to be confused with the God of Truth, where you write all, like, you know, your sins on a bone.
Mm. Sins on a bone.
I'm sorry.
Sins on a bone.
Moore had rings that glinted at every knuckle, on every finger, stacks of bracelets tinkled against each other on either wrist when they were heading to the Hewn City. And again, I just think that her jewelry being pointed out like that is weird because the only other person who wears that much jewelry is that priestess bitch, Ianthe. And Rigelus.
Sorry, I wasn't like I knew that because you had like said it before, but I forgot. And Regulus.
Because I didn't write it down, so you didn't know.
Boy. Yes, it looks like a 14-year-old boy. So they have the description of the chamber upstairs in the House of Wind.
It's their chamber of secrets.
It is their chamber of secrets, truly. And one might call it intriguing. The chamber was a cool, chill plaque. Brush your teeth, guys. Cool, chill black, as if we'd stepped inside the mind of some sleeping beast. And its round space gleamed, glittering islands of light, of jeweled 10 to 1,000 years worth of treasure. In the back of the chamber, shrouded in heavier darkness. Sleeping beast? In like Rachel Green's tone of like, you sleep. Yet again, things are always sleeping and slumbering. The House of Wind is something we'll go into detail about during the Court of Silver Flames coverage, but it's an odd place. Just with the library below, with my opinion of its hellish connections and the house being sentient, it's odd. Like a sleeping beast. Sorry.
It is weird.
It is weird.
The house being sentient, like, did somebody give their essence to protect this house?
Or we know that Vespi hides powers underneath mountains all the time. And what if underneath the House of Wind? No, there's something there.
They're just drawing, that is their energy reserve for the house.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing all the power.
It's just odd. And if it is a hellish connection or the Hell Gate, Hell in Norse mythology is actually a woman. So is
We've talked
that?
about it before.
Or yeah, we've talked about it before, but like, is that who talks to Nesta in the house? I don't know.
Is that the three-faced goddess?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a face? Does one face live at the House of Wind and at the townhouse?
And at the Hewn City. Just all of them.
Just, there's one of the faces. One of her three.
There's a lot to think about.
Before they head out, Feyre thinks about her current crown and how it was chosen. In the jewelry room, Feyre thought, I'd heard of catacombs on the continent where skulls of beloved or infamous people were kept in little alcoves, dozens or hundreds of them to a wall. And the only other catacombs that we've seen in the Maasverse are those of the Bone Temple. When Dorian is talking to Gavin about Kale's discovery in the catacombs, he asks Gavin, what does the God of Truth have to say about Elena's role in this? Gavin then calls him the All-Seeing One, and then Gavin tells Dorian that Damaris was blessed by the All-Seeing One himself. Why did he call him the All-Seeing One instead of the God of Truth there? Regardless, are these one in the same catacombs, but in a different time? Fun fact, both... Well, I guess I asked the question. Do you have an answer?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Who's to say?
Who's to say? I don't know.
Fun fact, both fireflies and glowworms were imaginatively linked to fairy worlds, in case you didn't know. Glowworms, tiny, because they're mentioned here. Glowworms, tiny bluish globs crusted in the arches of each nook seem to glitter like the entire night sky. What a descriptor. Bluish globs.
I love a bluish glob.
Pale blue and turquoise, their light as silken as moonlight, illuminating the jewels with their ancient, silent fire. Let's unpack this a little bit. We have seen glowworms in Throne of Glass when Aelin, Rowan, Fenris, Lorcan, and Elide traveled through the tunnels underground by river. Thanks to the little folk, there were glowworms in those tunnels. Thousands of them, made infinite by reflection in the black water. They were small blue lights that looked like a sea of stars. Aelin thinks about how she promised to rattle the stars. What a unique promise, knowing that there is so much concerning stars in ACOTAR and Crescent City. Is there more to that? The Asteria are stars, so to rattle them, was she supposed to scare them with her power? The mention of ancient silent fire is giving slightly otherworldly. While they are still traveling, Aelin could have sworn the living stars overhead sang, a celestial choir that floated through the caves, a star song carried along the river current, running beside them for the last miles to the sea. There are so many songs mentioned. Feyre and Rhys fucking, that were a song that had been sung from the very first ember of the light in the world. The cauldron sings. The wind sings. We have a shadow singer. Are they all singing the same song? Blake brought this up at the end of Mist and Fury, that so many references to song and their correlation, specifically to time.
There is so much to unpack about all of that. Like, and even just like the rattling the stars motion, the rattling the stars mention, like I said, and I think it was the last episode, of just the stars staring right back at her when they're talking about Aelin, and then Feyre with the stars. And if, like you bring up, Asteria are stars, and if you're rattling the stars, like rattling the stars to me makes me feel like you're fucking up the timeline.
Shake shit up.
Yeah, shaking shit up. And if these are separate alternate universes, or it's just separated by time, you can argue either one with these worlds. When something huge happens, like, how it slows the world when a otherworldly power dies.
Mhm.
Like, what is that ripple effect in the other areas? Just you bringing up rattling the stars. I'm just like, when Aelin's fucking shit up, or when the others do, how is that effect? I mean, we kind of see it. Oh, I think we will, anyways, with the prison and Avelin. But
Because I wonder what Aelin's initial fate was. Like, was it to give up all her power? Was it to initially be made? Like, how did this, like, what was her fate trajectory and how did she change it? Just like Bryce and Hunt changed theirs. Like, they weren't fated to be mates and then they ended up being mates. She rattled shit up.
and so did Elena. Like, think about it. She saved Aelin, and she wasn't supposed to.
Right. And that's why Aelin banished the gods. So what effect did that have on everything as well?
I just think that with time and with these alternate universes of things, there is an effect. Like, you can look at that with like string theory and a lot of different quantum physics things. Like, when big events happen, it affects different realities.
What do you think is going on? Like, there's so many mentions about the song and the choir, and we know that there is an up and coming harp.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a huge spoiler. I mean, it might be. Sorry, guys. But like, there's a lot of references to songs and plucking chords and all of that, like, throughout the 3 books.
And there's even song it's talked about in Tog, and there's song that's talking about in Crescent City in different parts of it. I really do think it goes hand in hand with time and like traveling through time, just the way that they talk about power and even with the void and chaos, song is used in there. So that's why I think our boy Az is going to be a bigger part with his shadow singing ability.
Because once again, there's singing right in his title. Maybe when the void created everything, the world was a musical. Didn't know how to speak. Everything was in song.
The void was a drama kid, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Like a real
big fan
kid?
of didn't know how to speak, just sang, you know? Song on the wind.
Yeah, like what if we always say like word marks is the original, or word and everything is the original talking, but what if it's actually just song? We sing everything.
The void was a rapper.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, everything is a song and dance. We figured out who the void is.
I hate that in my brain. All of a sudden, I just pictured, give them the old razzle dazzle, razzle dazzle.
Yes.
The theater kid in me was like trying so hard, like, don't say it. Shut your mouth. Stop.
But you said
Stop.
it.
And I had to. I'm sorry. I
You should
apologize.
have done it
everybody.
anyway.
I know.
Let's talk about Feyre's crown choice. The crown called to her. My crown was crafted of silver and diamond, all fashioned into swirls of stars and various phases of the moon. Its arching apex held aloft a crescent moon of solid diamond flanked by 2 exploding stars. Once again, Elena had a crown of stars. Blue Bloods had a crown of barbed stars. Old Babs had a crown of stars, which was Rhiannon Crocken's, which Manon acquired. We learn it was a living, glowing thing with 9 stars on a silver band, white stars shining with cores of cobalt, ruby, and amethyst. And it sounds like diamonds and silver, similar to what Feyre snagged. That crown, though, it was said to have felt like it was asleep for a long, long time, and now it awoke. The Crocken Queen crowned anew. This is a crown that a lot of people have compared Feyre's to, but Manon's has no moon. This sounds more like
no moon.
I know. Sorry. It was so hard not to. This sounds more like Luna's tiara in Crescent City, which is a silver tiara with a full moon held by 2 crescent ones, but once again, no mention of stars. But speaking of Luna, the crown that the little folk gave Aelin in chapter 119 of Kingdom of Ash, the ancient crown settled behind her Terrasen one. When it was placed on her, she burned bright as the star. Mab's crown was crafted of silver and pearl with pure diamond and shimmered like moon's rays had been captured. And I think these are Deanna, Mab, Luna crowns of some sort that are calling their key queens. Manon seemed almost sentient on her. When she tried to give it to Glennis, it dimmed. A crown of stars calling to her seems like a goddess of the night wanted her to have it. Aelin feeling bright as a star after wearing Mab's crown, a moon crown calling to Feyre, There's no mention of Mora's crown, Chthoni's crown. It's always Deanna, Mab, and Luna. All these lunar crowns have to be connected through the moon goddess, who fucking loves a rebrand.
Kylie knows this, but just wanted to give the distinction and reminder. Mab and Deanna are actually not the same. They're separate beings. Mab was immortalized into godhood because of Maeve, but Mala already had a sister in the moon being Deanna. Rowan tells us that Deanna is an original goddess, but over time, mortals have given Mab some of the Deanna traits with the moon. But that doesn't mean that Maeve also didn't give her moon traits as well as like the mortals. So just the distinction, because everyone gets so fucking confused with that, which it is weird and confusing. Like,
Yes.
why did they? But that has nothing to do with what you said. I was just giving the.
We need a little context every now and then.
Not you, but them. Yeah. I wasn't giving you context, you know.
I said we as a team. We are all family here.
We are. But I think you're completely fucking on to something with that. Like, I think it's a calling, which you could look at the reincarnation if you really wanted to.
Witches assemble.
Like, I don't know. I just think that there's more to Feyre. I know people want to shit at her all the time, but I think there's more to Feyre.
Because we can still get these other stories and come full circle and come back to hers. I mean, we did get that Tower of Dawn book, and...
Well, and even just if we look at Aylin's story, we get the great story of, like you said, Tower of Dawn. We have Irene's. We also have Manon's. Like, there's room for a lot of different girls to be great. So, like, as much as... No, it's all about Nesta is kind of what the vibe that people have sometimes, because Nesta is such a great character, even though she's a bitch a lot. Like, Feyre can still be great. Elaine, we'll see. Those two can still be great.
I'll get more into Elaine in Frost and Starlight. Because we do get to know her a little bit more there.
Well, that's some of our things. If you don't know someone's character and they don't give you much, it's kind of like, okay.
But Elaine has not given much.
She hasn't given much. She's been a low effort gal so far.
Very low effort gal. And it's probably because she's blonde, even though she's not.
She's blonde.
Just like Tamlin, who's low effort guy.
Maybe... I thought you were going to say just like Elaine Hendricks, but you went with Tamlin.
Maybe Tamlin shapeshifted into Elaine. Tamlin is everyone. Tamlin is the wind. He's everywhere. He's everyone.
Okay. I just love that multiple times in this episode, Tamlin is someone else.
Why not?
Why not? You know? You're trying to make Tamlin more interesting than he is, and I respect that.
Really, really trying to, give Tamlin a better edit, I guess.
Yeah. Good job, Andy of Bravo. You're doing a great job.
I'm exhausted. My weave is exhausted.
God, can you imagine Andy having Tamlin on Watch What Happens Live trying to make this guy cool?
Yeah, I can, because he loves to keep people in the spotlight that suck.
Shitty men, specifically.
I bet you he would love Tamlin. I think Andy would love Tamlin. He'd also love Rhys, though.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He would want to bone Rhys.
But he would like Tamlin. He would be like his Michael Rappaport.
And I think that Tamlin would try to hang out with Southern Charm Boys.
Yes, 100%. That's the vibe I get. Totally.
He would try to, but like, I don't think Austin would be interested in him. Craig might, but Shep would be like, no, he's our homie.
Craig would totally like work on flowers with him. Like, they would be friends.
You're welcome, guys, for that.
Tamlin tangent of the day.
Had to have one. So call me crazy, but I actually have hope for Rhys and Nesta's relationship. When Rhys says, as a high lady, Feyre is no longer my emissary to the human world. You want the job. Nesta's face yielded nothing, but I could have sworn some spark flared. She says, consider this meeting a trial basis and I'll make you pay through your teeth for my services. Rhys says, I would have expect nothing less from an Archeron sister. Welcome to the court. You're about to have one hell of a first day. And Feyre says, and to my eternal shock, which, by the way, eternal shock, something's weird with Feyre. A smile tugged at Nesta's mouth.
Did you just now figure out that something's up with Feyre?
No, I say it every fucking episode like it's new. Something's up with this bitch.
That one, something's up with Feyre.
She said the word eternal. Something is up. Not the other millions of evidence that we've come up with.
Not even just talking about the crown. No, that term, eternal, when she used it about her smile.
About her smile. No, shock. Eternal shock, you know? As I was saying, them not being besties up until this point does make sense to me. I get Rhys's point of view, and I honestly see why Nesta would find Rhys hella annoying. Nesta has an authority problem. She's never been one to be put in a box. Nor does she like people telling her what to do. Plus, Rhys is Aelin-esque in his sense that he's a mastermind, making a bunch of fucking decisions that nobody is aware of, and considering her feelings towards her own father, her being forced into being Fae, someone like Rhys would be so annoying. But I believe that they will come back together. They'll be fine.
At the end of the series, they will be friends.
Yeah.
In the end.
They're family. They are family.
Yeah. They love each other, but don't like each other.
But I think it will be less icy.
Yeah.
Because I think there's going to be a point where both of them have to depend on each other. And I can tell neither one of those two want to do that.
No. I mean, what a fun little side book. Like, they get stuck on an adventure together.
And everything the other person does just pisses the other one off.
It's like really cutthroat, and at the end, they're like, they see eye to eye. A little novella of that I'd be into. A couple chapters, something short.
Take it.
Yeah.
They
get a bonus chapter situation.
They're stranded on like Miryam and Drakon's island together.
They're both depleted of energy. Like they raced there by swimming, and so they're really tired and couldn't swim back, and so they're trapped there for a bit. So their magic replenishes. And
Nesta has trauma with swimming because of the cauldron. So it could be a whole thing.
She was trying to overcome it. And Rhys was like trying to bond with her. That was his way, like really encouraging her swimming. And then after all that, she's like pissed that he made her do it. And they're like stuck on that island. And then they trauma bond. Because there's wordstone on the island. And so they can't use their magic.
And then what if it becomes like a party, almost like Captain Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann, and they just start drinking, why is the rum always gone? And they start drinking, and like it'll be a great time.
Don't know where the alcohol came from, but they have it.
It's there. Somebody left it there.
Yeah. They found an abandoned temple that had alcohol in it.
Mm-hmm. And the 8-pointed star is there just to throw it all in there, and they can discuss what it means.
Yes, SJM, call us. We will let you use our story.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be great.
It's a great bonus chapter scene.
If you guys have anything to add, let us know.
We're
willing to take suggestions, even though that was perfect. But we're willing to take suggestions. Suggestions?
Words are really hard. Let's get to the big meeting. So Feyre thinks, my father had once bought and traded a gold and lapis lazuli pendant that hailed from the ruins of an arid southeastern kingdom where the Fae had ruled as gods amid swaying date palms and sand-swept palaces. Let's talk about lapis lazuli. It is an ancient gem containing 3 minerals.
Marriage! Minerals!
3 minerals in varying amounts: lazurite, calcite, and pyrite. I really want to make a side conversation because we did this research like literally, last year looking at this?
November.
Yeah.
I think. We were at my house.
Yeah, we're looking into lapis lazuli last year and we're talking about it. And then Blakely's husband comes up the stairs with this same fucking rock. So we've been sitting on this for a while.
We've had this lapis lazuli knowledge for a long time, guys.
Big rock gals. Well, Blakely
This is our big reveal.
Yeah, the big rock of it all. This is the hidden gem we've been hiding. So spiritually, lapis lazuli is associated with wisdom, truth, and enlightenment, and is used to open the third eye chakra to enhance intuition and inner wisdom. It is also connected to the throat chakra, promoting honest communication and the ability to speak one's truth. Historically, it was seen as a bridge to the divine and used for spiritual protection and guidance in the afterlife. The name is derived from the Latin word lapis, meaning stone, and the Persian word lazuli, meaning sky or heavens. In ancient times, lapis lazuli was incorrectly called sapphire, or the Latin word sapphirus. The Eye of Helena is that same blue. Could Feyre's dad have been referencing the southern continent here? Which also begs the question, anything that was referenced as sapphire, like, is this lapis lazuli?
Is it actually sapphire?
Yes.
I think so. I think he definitely was, because just the other things that Feyre talks about with like the spices and all that with her dad. Southern continent. For sure. That's what the continent is.
That Prince of Merchants, there's no way. I bet you he has definitely been to the market of Xandria.
Maybe. Not against it.
He's the Prince of Merchants. He's been about. Maybe
I thought.
he is Lysandra's uncle.
Maybe. Yeah, what if Papa Archeron is a shapeshifter this whole time?
And nobody knew. Because, like, people didn't know Lysandra was Lysandra.
Lysandra. I don't know why, but my brain was just like, yeah, what if he is a shapeshifter? Or like he's actually a sorcerer. And I think about in the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, how it's like this old man with a it's actually a woman. But like what if that's him and he didn't have a gimpy leg and he's gonna turn it. Mm-hmm.
Once again, I think I brought it before, like, what if he's a male Kraken?
I have a lot of thoughts about him. I guess I'll get into that the next episode. Because I'm running out of time with Papa Archeron. There's not a lot of talk that can be had with that man.
Next episode. I actually want to talk about Tamlin. And I feel very passionate about this conversation.
You really do. Go ahead.
I've been actually holding on. Actually, this one just... Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. In the words of SpongeBob, I'm ready. So anytime there is a lightning reference, because of my favorite lightning hellspawn hunt, I get suspicious. Like a crack of lightning, vicious as a spring storm, he winnowed into the chamber itself, and my blood went colder than Callias's ice as Tamlin appeared and smiled like a wolf. Why would I bring that up? Baby Hunt was an experiment. Why wouldn't there be experiments here in Prythian too? Feyre says Tamlin was a High Lord, as powerful as any of them, except for the one at my side. Rhys was as different from them as humans were to Fae. And we know Tamlin is pretty exceptional in his own right. Right after Rhys takes Tamlin's ability to talk away, chapter 45 begins with, "Only my friends didn't seem surprised. Tamlin's eyes were green flame, golden light flickering around him as his magic sought to wrestle free from Rhysand's control as he tried to speak. Let me hop on my fucking soapbox. In Crescent City, I talked about green flame. In chapter 62 of Sky and Breath, I pointed out the Underking's association with green light. And in chapter 47 of House of Flame and Shadow, I pointed out Hypaxia had greenish light that wreathed her fingers as she approached the table holding a bundle in her hand. The eerie green light has a huge significance because while it is cast from the flame, green light is also associated with Valg, as I have pointed out. In chapter 58 of Crescent City, House of Flame and Shadow, I talked about Bryce and Hunt's visit to Hell. The boat, specifically, in lieu of a stag's head, it was a stag's skull at the prow. Greenish flame dancing in its eyes as it sailed through the cave. The eerie green light illuminated black rock carved into pillars and buildings, walkways and temples. Green flame and light again. In the city of the dead, in which Ada says, "This is where our beloved dead come to rest, and all the comforts of life around them." Their beloved dead, as in the Princes of Hell. So where we saw green flame before was in chapter 6 of Throne of Glass. Selena saw the fire in the throne room had something greenish about the flame, something that had made her spine straighten. And then in chapter 55 of Throne of Glass, a greenish fire burned in the mouth-like fireplace in the king's council chamber after she became champion. And then in chapter 73 of Kingdom of Ash, when Dorian discovered the wordstone collars in Morath, what he looked at in the rough-hewn chamber, illuminated by a small lantern dangling from the arched ceiling, a lick of greenish flame danced within, not a flame of this world. So now we get to Crescent City in the stag skull at the prow, greenish flame dancing in its eyes. King of Adarlan, who was occupied by Valg, had greenish flame burning multiple times. Valg were not of Aurelia. It says not a flame of this world when Dorian saw it. So why did Princes of Hell have a boat with a green flame? Because they're fucking Valg. There is green light mentioned in ACOTAR, but that's specifically just as at Starfall when Star Seaman gives Feyre a face shot. With this being the only green flame reference between all 5 ACOTARs, I think it's significant. Another clue to the High Lords are made or experiments of some sort at least. At least Tammy Sue and Reese Boy. With Valg meaning choice, they could be choosing to be good. Even Tamlin, with how much he sucks, he says, I once told you I would fight against tyranny, against that sort of evil. 2 things can be true. He can make good choices, some good choices, but still have a shitty personality.
Case closed.
But because green flame is just not prevalent at all. And just to see it in Tamlin's fucking eyes. But once again, making the choice to be good.
And it really makes you think about, the Valg and Asteri in general and them being the same or cousins of sort, like from the same world,
Right.
and just because I think the green flame, and we have green light and we have blue light. So it's like it's all the same to me. And I think that Tammy Boy, something's different about him. I know you're going to talk about in the next episode, but like I think Reese is obviously the most powerful by far. I think he's second.
I do too, because I think Tamlin dampens his powers as well.
Yeah, I think he has secrets that he's keeping close to the chest.
Once again, yeah, we will get into it the next episode, but yeah, Tamlin is powerful. Big powerful guy.
He can kill things that others cannot, like powerful. Speaking of powerful men,
let's talk about Azriel.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about his shadows? He used his shadows on Eris at the meeting. There was no physical brawling. There had been a rule against that, but Azriel, with whatever power those shadows gave him, the others made no move to interfere, as if wondering the same. So he's a shadow singer. They are rare and coveted by courts and territories across the world for being stealthy and their predisposition to hear and feel things that others can't. His shadows constantly whisper and murmur to him right off the bat. The way he acts, the way his act are different and seem more sentient than Reese's. Azriel's are always wreathing his neck and wrist, gathering on the tips of his wings, kind of like a little ode to somebody else we know. They can also protect him when he was strangling Eris. Perhaps those shadows, now slid and eddied around the Shadow Singer, hid him from the wrath of the binding magic. They also flow from him as smoke, can hide him and others, and they can look for things, like the cauldron. Azriel's shadows and the wind recoiled from the cauldrons. Once again, here we are with song, singing. There's no mention of Reese's reacting similar. Az himself was said to have a voice like shadows given form, dark, smooth, and cold, and like shadows given sound. And in a Reese point of view, he said that this about Azriel's shadows. Different from anything my power summoned spoke to. Born in a lightless, airless prison meant to break him. They did not have an explanation for where his power came from. We've asked this before, but are his shadows a gift from the princes of hell?
Yes.
You are the mother, and you are letting me know. Yep.
Yeah. Just call me Chaos. I think that the reason both Az and Reese were able to work around this binding spell is probably because that they're other and rules do not apply to them. Their powers, they come from a different place, and that is why. And even just you mentioning that his shadows are different, it's like Reese's shadows do his bidding. They'll kill, they'll do whatever they have to. Whereas is like really a part of him. They work with him. It's just different. So then that begs the question, if they're both little hell babies or they get their powers, why are his so different? And just with song being such a part of Az, I think is it the void? Is he getting extra powers that way? I have questions. But while we're on the subject, Reese is often equated with ice. The scars were rough against my fingers, but his skin was pure ice, and that's talking about Az. Feyre says, I knew you were powerful, but I didn't realize that you had such an advantage on the others. Rhys's eyes shuddered, even as he gave me a half smile. I'm not even sure Baron knew until this day, and I feel like his eyes shuddered because Rhys Boy knows the truth of where his powers come from. His dark power and his light, but he doesn't say it. And it makes you wonder why.
Maybe he's bound in some way where he can't.
Where, yes. Like, even when she makes that comment about, I'd seen him rage before, but never so detached, as if morality and kindness were things that lurked on the surface, far, far above the frozen depths he plunged into. And I, just with ice and what we know, Niflheim and everything, like, they got that ice hell dog in them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Rhys chooses to be good, but most of him, I think it's a battle for him.
Like when he gets to go to the Hewn City, like that's probably his favorite version of himself.
He probably enjoys it a little bit. He won't admit it, but he likes it.
I'm sure he absolutely enjoyed snapping Kyr's hand.
Oh, yeah, especially after he called Feyre a whore. Yeah. I don't know. I just keep on. I think a lot of what makes ads different, just this, I think the more we'll talk about just singing and music has something to do with his shadows and everything about it. But they're both hell babies of some sort.
Agreed. Definitely agreed on that.
Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like any fucking paragraph about either one of them, there's something in there that's like ice, cold, like it all goes back to the hell.
Well, their shadows are so unique from each other. And I took us to shadow school in Crescent City, but it's like they're so different from runes. And so it's like, where do runes come from? And obviously they're different from his cousins that suck. Like all the shadows are so different. And I just wonder why. Different princes, different gift, who knows?
Mm.
God, is Rune actually Illyrian since he always has them gathering at the tips of his wings? It looks like he's got wings.
Yeah, it's like they're phantom wings almost.
Rune's an Illyrian. Figured it out.
You just didn't know it.
We talk about the High Lords being weird often. So Thiessen brought in the Master Tinkerer, and her name's Nuon, and she is the daughter of two High Fae from Xion. And Thiessen said his mom and majority of his court hailed from there. I think I'm saying it right. So I looked up Xion in mythology, and traditionally it refers to entities who have attained immortality and supernatural or magical abilities later in life with a connection to the heavenly realms inaccessible to mortals. This is often achieved through spiritual self-cultivation, alchemy, looking at you, Nuon, or worship by others. This is different from the gods in Chinese mythology and Taoism. Xion is also used as a descriptor to refer to often benevolent figures of great historical, spiritual, and cultural significance. And I think this is an interesting choice name for the High Lord's people.
It is, and considering, yeah, where they're from.
Considering that I think that there is potentially word marks on Lucien's eye, okay, so where did the Master Tinkerer learn those word marks? Where did those people come from?
And they have a lot of libraries here too. Like, there's a lot of questions.
A lot of questions. Like, all these courts are so unique. Well, we don't know that much about like Dawn or Winter though.
No. They're kind of on the hush-hush.
Yeah, or Dusk if you want to get technical.
If you want to get technical, only. When we're at that meeting, we talk about Eris. And there's an example of Eris being good. When Rhys says, I'm not scheming with Hybern because if I was, it would be far less time consuming to just sneak into all your minds and make you do my bidding. What does Eris do? He angles his body in his chair to block the path to his mother. which, yes, obviously a man would be more inclined to save his mother than, say, someone that is an enemy of sorts, but it just makes me believe that his reasons for leaving more there were more intentional and like not to be shitty.
I truly dissect this in Frost and Starlight, but full agree. And there are so many signs to Eris being good. Like, Eris is the only Autumn Court guy to be like, yeah, give me your drugs, and keeping his brothers in check for this meeting while his bitch old dad is just like existing, not doing shit. Eric is making the fucking choice to be good. Eris is making choice. I don't know that he's Valg, but he is making the choice to be good. Even Feyre had a small part of her wonder if Eris might have grown to be a good male if he had a different father, if one still lurked there underneath centuries of poison. Because Eris, what had it been like for him under the mountain? What games had he played and endured? And I think they're really great questions for Feyre to ask, because I think Eris, I think Eris is also playing a game, not unlike our friends at the Night Court.
I 100% agree. And even just like saying the poison of like the Autumn Court, and even the mentions of like how we talked about the last episode of how, or not last, that was in Court of Mist and Fury, how so much is below the surface, like hidden. And then they make the comment about your trove of jewels and treasures that they keep there. So, with your thoughts of Asteri being put into things, evil into things, it's possible that a lot is festering there. And like, if Eris gets out, what can he do? What's he gonna? He wants to be a High Lord, obviously, but
I think he's gonna do good things, and obviously we both think that. But you saying, I wonder if there's like, there's one, one Asteri that was under the Dust Court that we learned in Crescent City, so not a spoiler. And then, what if that necklace at the Summer Court held another one, not multiple, just one? And then there's one in the Spring Court. There's one under every court just to like fuel.
but seven. Yeah. Seven, like, so that would be the counterpart from Crescent City. So if we're having alternate realities or like mirror reality, almost like mirror worlds, if you have seven, but they're all hidden, because
I think that there is potentially one under every court, because all
there
pockets of power.
and there's mountains in most places. So if that's where they were hiding them,
it took them how long to find Vespers? So not crazy. The fact that Rhys, whose blood is keyed to the prison, didn't know, that's wild. That is no, he doesn't know. That is such a fucking huge amount of power that's under there. And I guess it's protected by other magical things. But to not know about like all this shit under there is crazy.
Yeah, because we both believe that both Az and Rhys know way more than they let on. But them being surprised about this or not knowing is huge.
Yeah. So I think there is potentially one under every court.
And even just thinking about how we talked about Crochet and like the mythology of it, of like hiding things in areas or like his death in boxes. Now, I'm not trying to make it like a Horcrux situation, but just even with the Steri Daglin, like, I just think the number 7 is so significant.
It is. It comes up a lot. 7 and 3 are fucking crazy. A lot of
so for the 7 High Lords, is there 7 Asteri Daglin counterparts that they all have to destroy in order for balance to happen in that world?
Magic likes balance. We brought it up. And I think, once again, it's really important to remember that. Like, they need to restore balance. No more thoughts on that.
No.
So speaking of Feyre and Baron, it was a good transition initially, but like our conversation kept going.
My bad. Sorry for having it be conversational.
When he was being a dick and Feyre sent a raging hot flame that blasted into Baron like a lance, our girl Aelin used a white hot flame against the Valg princes during the battle at Mistwood. Aelin also used her flame glowing... Aelin's flame was also glowing white hot during the battle at Enel. And then she expended a lot of power to protect the city. Dorian used white hot flame against Maeve when he let her into the chamber in his mind, letting her see what she wanted with him. And then we have Mala giving Aelin a kernel of white hot power, a fallen star. Aelin, Dorian, and Mala are all related. Is that flame actually Baron's kernel, or was Feyre channeling Mala? Are some High Lords carrying kernels from gods, and some High Lords were Asteri created to rival them? We don't know, so it's a theory.
All speculation. I think like maybe we could go a couple different ways with this. Well, first, just the High Lords carrying kernels from gods. If when Aelin banished them, the mother takes like they go into the cauldron and it spills out that magic. It would make sense for the High Lords to get certain magics from certain gods. But I'm inclined to believe it was more of Mala's flame, which isn't to take away that some of the land has Asteri magic, Tog god magic. And like all the examples you used above the white hot flame, I brought up those in episode 1 in our ACOTAR deep dive when Feyre is cornered by the Naga, or the Naga? Naga? Naga. Okay, I was like, no, that's not right. Naga. Feyre is cornered by the Naga, and there's a point where there's no reason that she should survive this, and her days are numbered, but she says, a white hot flame went through me. Rage or terror or wild instinct, I don't know. And I think this is when Mala made like a cameo of sorts, which makes me want to play devil's advocate a bit with who the bone carver is talking about in Mist and Fury when he says that the Fae warrior would have been his salvation and her bloodline is somewhere in the human blood elsewhere. I made the case in Crescent City that it was Bryce and Ember. And then you said, what if the Fae warrior was Elena? And then we kind of talked about, or Aelin, because she was also a warrior.
Absolutely. And I mean, it seems like he has been to the southern continent before, so not crazy.
So, on that note, thanks for giggling through the Maasters with us. We have new episodes every Wednesday.
So make sure you hit that follow button wherever you listen, and then head over to our social media for all of our latest updates, theories, and more. New book Guffin. All links are in our info, you giggling gal pals. We will see you next week.